Ever stop to think how much those little impulse buys on your phone are adding up to, and how many subscription payments are sneaking out of your bank account every single month? Before I started using Rocket Money, let me tell you, I had no idea. But the first time I logged in, I saved $435. I couldn't believe it. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I just love the dashboard. It shows everything in one place, even the subscriptions you forgot you signed up for. And if there's something you don't need, Rocket Money helps you cancel it. Plus, it alerts you if a bill increases or if something unusual pops up in your account. It's basically like having a personal assistant for your money. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Kim today. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. rocketmoney.com/Kim.
Welcome to the Kim Komando Show podcast, and this weekend, a replay from the weekend of March 18th, 2023. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Here's hour one.
I always like to begin with something interesting. And do you know the name Steve Krish? Steve Krish. Well, if you don't know, he's a tech entrepreneur, and he had a hand in the development of the optical mouse. He built one company. He sold it to Adobe. He built another company. He sold that one to Disney. And he's worth somewhere in the range of $200 to $300 million. Guy's loaded, all right? But for some reason, he does not fly privately. So get this. He's on a Delta flight sitting in first class, and he jumps onto Twitter to complain about the woman sitting next to him who's wearing a mask. So he looks at her and he says, if you take that mask off, I don't know you, I'm going to give you $100,000 to take your mask off. Apparently, he's an anti-masking guy. She says, no way. I'm keeping my mask on. I'm not going to take $100,000 to sit on this flight next to you without a mask on. Well, I'll tell you one thing. The next time I fly, I hope I'm sitting next to Steve Krish, and I'm going to put a mask on just to make $100,000 as I'm on a couple of hours on a Delta flight. Hey, right? Hey, on that happy note, welcome to the nation's largest, most trusted show about all things digital. It's called the Kim Komando Show because, after all, I just happen to be Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess. And you're about ready to get more tech smarts because every single thing is now a tech thing. And if you're a new listener, welcome. What took you so long? We've been on the air for over 20 years. And if you're a regular listener, welcome back. Now, you can find my award-winning show on over 425 top stations throughout the United States. We're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando. And we're streaming on demand 24/7 over at getkim.com. You can get a free 30-day trial. We have discounts for seniors, service personnel, teachers, active military, and vets. And you can also hear us on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in 175 countries and 200 ships at sea. Get the Kim Komando Show. Wow. AFN, they've been broadcasting since 1942, and so proud and honored to be on their airways. And I'm sure you have at least a few questions about something digital I can lend a hand to. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And just a quick reminder, if you're just too dang shy to come on a big-time show and podcast, I get that, you know. You can just drop me your question right on our website, komando.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. All right, every single day, I must go to at least 30 different websites to make sure that you're up to date about all things digital, so you don't have to do that. And this is part of the show where I like to talk about the top 5 things that are happening in really the tech news. And we're going to start with, well, a story that's kind of creepy and Orwellian. And it's bound to get your face too. What? Well, they first appeared in Britain. Chinese-made facial recognition cameras connected to a central data system that holds mugshots of known shoplifters and other criminals. Well, as each shopper enters the store, behind the scenes, a facial scan is completed within seconds. Then if a match is made, store management, they get alerted. Now, the system is 97.8% accurate, right? Hikvision is the name of the Chinese company that makes them. And much like TikTok, the U.S. government saying, hey, this is a national security threat because all this data is being turned over to communist China. But on the other hand, American crime is so rampant that many cities and merchants are going to say, well, this is actually maybe not a bad deal. Maybe we don't have to close shop like Walmart did in Portland. But what are these merchants supposed to do? These cameras are coming. Like I said, it's very creepy and it's very Orwellian. All right, number 2 on our list is suddenly the entire tech world is raving about ChatGPT. Number 4, the latest iteration, is here. And these computers, they are linked together to what's formed and called a large language model. And they use deep learning algorithms to correlate and summarize information gathered from these massive sets of data, usually found on the internet. So you start hearing about ChatGPT 4, that it can pass the bar exam. It can tell you what's wrong with you medically. It can write poetry. You can give it a description or write a picture. You can do all this much more, and they can do it in less time than the predecessor. But you have to remember that ChatGPT 4 is still loaded with tons of problems. I mean, given enough time, and if I had a full law library, if I wanted to, I bet you even I could pass the bar. But I don't know if I would fully comprehend and understand the law at that point. It can tell you about ballet, but I don't know if it really gets it. Remember, ChatGPT 4, it cannot reason, it cannot empathize. And until then, it truly cannot be trusted. Next on our list, car, come here. That's right, number 3. Imagine you're driving down the highway and suddenly hear a strange noise coming from your car, like, what's going on with that? And you're not sure if you should pull over or just keep driving to maybe get to the nearest rest stop or service station. Well, if ChatGPT was in your car, you could simply say, hey, car, what should I do? I hear a strange noise. Kind of reminds you like that Kit car from Knight Rider, doesn't it? And imagine if your car spoke back to you and said, well, you have 5 seconds to make the light. I think you should really go for it. Well, that tech isn't here yet, but General Motors has announced this past week that's going to work with Microsoft to put ChatGPT into its cars. That's right. GM Vice President Scott Miller said ChatGPT is going to be everywhere. Well, here are some of his ideas for a ChatGPT-powered car. If you get a flat tire, you could ask for instructions on how to change it or call AAA. In the event of an emergency, the AI is going to say, hey, you need to pull over immediately. But think about this. Remember when the General Motors jobs were in Flint and you couldn't drink the water in Mexico? Now, totally reversed. All right, number 4, scammers are going to scam. These credit card skimmers aren't just lurking at the gas pump or ATMs anymore. They're in the self-checkout lane at grocery stores, so you got to watch out. They are called Bluetooth overlay skimmers, and they're on the rise. Now, here's the thing about these sneaky little skimmers. The Bluetooth component lets thieves get data stolen wirelessly and virtually from any Bluetooth-enabled device just by being near that credit card terminal. Now, these skimmers are made to be placed on top of the card readers at store self-checkout lanes, so they can get you when you're scanning your candy bar and your salad. So what can you do? First, always check any point-of-sale device for anything unusual. Give it a little tug. And when entering your PIN, cover it with your hand, even if the device claims to secure information wirelessly. And you should have this set up already, but I want to be sure that you get text alerts from your bank for any purchases that are made on your credit card when you're not actually there. And finally, this coming in at number 5, you can throw away your Q-tips. What? Okay, if you just saw what I'm going to be talking about, they look like really expensive headphones. But if you watch them, what's going on, you see something that's kind of gross looking. The headphones become loaded with earwax, and you can see through them. You start seeing the earwax. These are headphones of the future, folks. That's right. They're called the Ostoset ear cleaning system, an ear cleaning system. That's right. It's kind of gross. If you're eating, you just might want to pause this for just a moment. Okay, you're with me. These high-tech earphones have 2 see-through chambers on each side. Now, the top chamber is filled with this magical potion that flows through your ears to latch on to any nasty earwax. While the suction inside the earphones, they actually slurp it, and then the yellow earwax juice goes back into the lower chamber. But good news, the lower chamber is recyclable. Isn't that nice? Now, here's the deal about earwax. I'm not a doctor, and I don't play one on the internet, but it's nasty looking. But it does help trap dust, dirt, small objects, and germs from entering your ear. So you have to learn to embrace your earwax. That's right. Speaking of ears, last night I was having dinner with some friends at the club, and Julie asked me, what do you call the strings on the corn as she's holding it up? And I said, ear hair. Get it? Ear hair. She didn't laugh either. All right, coming up in our security tip, we have some new password rules that we need to pass along. And also a big mistake that a lot of people are doing when you start installing apps and you start saying like, oh, sure, you can have all my contacts. No, you don't want to do that. And of course, we have all of your phone calls and you have me, Kim Komando. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And just a quick reminder, you can always email me your question by heading to the website. That's komando.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. All right, just an administrative moment I need to tell you about real quick is that if you are getting the Kim Komando Show newsletters, and we send out over 20 million a month, odds are you probably are, is that they're going through a major revamp. And so over the next couple of weeks, you're going to have a new look, a new format, less ads. You're going to love it. And if you used to get the newsletters and you don't get them anymore, or maybe you want to try them, head over to komando.com/subscribe. Over 400,000 people trust our newsletters. You can unsubscribe at any time, and they are 100% free. That's komando.com/subscribe. Oh, wow. Let me tell you, you guys and gals, we are in for such a special treat. Because joining us are Ashton and Art. You might know them as Trilogy Media. They are the biggest, baddest scam fighter duos on YouTube. And let me tell you, they have just under 1 million subscribers. And yes, I'm raising my hand because I'm a subscriber. And if you're not a subscriber, you should be too. Now, the reason why I love them is that they flip the script on robocallers and scammers that steal our hard-earned money out of these unsuspecting victims' pockets. You know what I'm talking about. You've heard them here on the show. I'll never forget the woman who called in, and she was 68, and she thought she was in love with a 46-year-old guy, a doctor from Australia, who ends up scamming her for $40,000. So then she goes on Plenty of Fish because then she's going to find somebody else, and then she meets Mr. right there, and then he says, oh, gosh, I'm so sorry that you got scammed. I can help you. I'm a hacker, and I can help get your money back. And she loses another $60,000 to a scammer. Wow. But Ashton and Art, they do things differently. Like, for example, guys, thanks for being here. Let's start with some questions. Okay. Because these are questions that I get. And one of the questions that I always get, and I love that you guys actually went there, are where are the call centers and why are they always in India?
Well, it's a difficult topic because people tend to think that, we hyper-focus on any one area. The truth of the matter is we only can follow where the calls lead us, where the robocalls lead us. There are scams in every country over this entire planet. It just happens to be that India is full of very smart people. So the Indian scams, which is a very tiny percentage of the population, the locals hate them just as much as we do. But those people are very smart, so their scams are very much tech-centric, robocall-centric. So when you get those robocalls and those computer remote connection scams, those are just happen to be the ones that India focuses on.
You know how we have Pablo Escobar? Used to have Pablo Escobar in Colombia. There is another bad guy in India who runs so many undercover fake call centers in Kolkata. And Kolkata is an amazing city. We went last year. We took India and we went from Bangladesh to Pakistan, and we took that beautiful country and we from one border to another border for 3 weeks. We did, filming. We did a lot of investigations, glitter bombing them from the inside. We did a lot of stuff.
Okay, that's what I want you to explain that. I know, number one, what gave the idea to do the cockroaches and the glitter bomb? And how did that all come down?
Well, it was a massive team effort. Yes. We certainly can't take all the credit for that. We have to credit. We had weekly Zoom meetings every Sunday morning for about a year to orchestrate this. We had over a dozen undercover agents working in these various centers for close to a year. It took a lot of planning. It took a lot of risks and a lot of
effort, a lot of money, a lot of resources.
Ended up being more risks than we bargained for, but it was worth it. It was so much fun. And, it does a bigger job than just pranking the workers. Like, it raises awareness when you can get that many creators putting something out to that many millions of viewers. It raises awareness about how the scams work. It shines a light on a place that usually doesn't have any light shined on it. So we were able to shut down some call centers while doing so.
Sure.
The owners of call centers were so afraid that we brought FBI from America and we team up with CBI, which is like Indian FBI police. Mm-hmm. And they went undercover. They went like so silent for like a couple of weeks, which means all these call centers that they went dry did not scam Canada, America, Europe, UK, Australia,
nice.
anybody.
Nice.
So they lost a lot of money.
It cost them millions of dollars.
Yeah, millions of dollars. And that operation was, again, prepared for almost a year. Every single Sunday, no matter what you're doing, 10, 15 people every Sunday we're on Zoom call trying to get this going. And we did. We smuggled all these glitter bombs. We went to the market. We get cockroaches. We got rats. We got explosions going on, and we made some noise.
You certainly did. So, what do you think is the most widespread scam right now, aside from romance scams? What do you think is the biggest scam that people are falling for right now?
Right now, the one that we see probably more often than not is one we call, or that scambaiting calls the refund scam. So, you check your text or your voicemail or your email and you see that you were an invoice, essentially. It's a fake invoice sent to you from a call center pretending to be a very well-known company like Amazon or Norton or PayPal.
Best Buy, whatever.
They tell you were charged for some kind of crazy, fraudulent, whatever. But all it is a ruse for you to call the phone number back so they can remote connect to your computer.
I've been fielding a lot of phone calls. Yeah. Like I had a guy who called in and he got a call from Apple Enterprise servers, okay, and said that they found kiddie porn in his iCloud account and they needed money to clean out his iCloud account. And so he gave them, I don't understand this, he gave them $150,000 in gift cards.
Stories just like that are literally what we hear every single day, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. And that's what we try to accomplish in our videos, is not just to confront the scammers, because that's very, obviously it feels good to bring justice, but more importantly, to show how these scams play out and what tactics the scammers use to get you from that point to that point, to send that much money so more people can learn about it and look for the red flags.
All right. I'll tell you what, guys, we need to take a quick break. I love what you're doing, but I want to know more about the work that you're doing catching predators online. So when we come back, let's get into all of that, along with some other ways that you have caught scammers in the act. And once again, folks, if you want to check out their YouTube channel, it's youtube.com/Trilogy Media. Once again, that's youtube.com/Trilogy Media. We have more of this interview coming up that you don't want to miss, as well as some more tips and phone calls here on The Kim Komando Show. All right, if you're just joining us, we've been talking to Ashton and Art. You might know them from Trilogy Media. They are the biggest and baddest scam fighting duo on YouTube. They have just under 1 million subscribers, and their mission, I just love this. They track down the scammers and the predators. All right, guys, let's talk about how you recently caught some online predators.
I get the most thrill by going after people that prey on people that are weaker than them. And that covers predators, child predators, that covers people that scam people that are elderly, all that stuff. So we recently got into it. We have the fortune now of having a following, and we're able to collab with a lot of other big creators that have done this a lot more than us.
Like Courtney Elizabeth.
We have some more coming up very soon. But in this particular video and the couple that preceded it, we set up a sting house in Glendale, California. We have our team, including Courtney, that goes into these chat rooms and dating apps and pretends to be an underage girl. And always waiting for the predator to make the first contact. That's key. But they do all the time. Right. And we record all the communication, and then we tell them, hey, you can come. And the young child allegedly tells them, you can come meet us or meet me at this house. Yep. And then we're there to confront them with cameras and police.
This is really fascinating technology. I'm talking about all the deep fakes, the deep fake for video and for audio, and how, for example, there was that grandmother who got a call from her grandson, Brandon, and Brandon was in jail, of course, and he didn't have any money, and Granny loves him. But the scammers got enough of Brandon's voice off of his TikTok channel so that Brandon actually sounded like Brandon. Have you run into any of that yet?
They tried to get my grandmother with that exact scam. They called my grandmother. This is a couple of years back, but they pretended to be me. They called my grandma and said, hey, Jane, your grandson Ashton got arrested for DUI in Mexico and he needs bail money. Best thing you can do is to just do your due diligence and do not let anyone ever pressure you to do something quickly. Amazon and PayPal are never going to call you. The police station in another country is never going to call you and demand money for bail money. Like, if you're being pressured to do something, whether it's gift cards, computer access, whatever it is,
take a step back,
take a minute, hang up the phone, call a loved one, call an authority, call somebody, get an outside opinion if you're not sure. If anyone's ever pressuring you to do something quickly like that, chances are they're trying to dupe you. They're trying to catch you off guard.
That's why it's very important to take a breath, get out from this call, hang up, and talk to either your family, friends, your neighbors, and say like, hey, there is something happening. All of a sudden, sheriff, because I didn't pay taxes last year, $20, he want to put me for 10 years in jail. What's going on? Should I go to jail or what? Or if this is paid. So they try to bring that personal manipulation to scare you and make you to make that rational decision on the spot, which is immediately red flag.
Exactly. I mean, that whole sense of urgency. You got to do this right now. I had a gal on the show
Right
not
now.
too long ago. Okay, for 3 years. 3 years. That's a long time. 3 years. She was in Google Chat with a guy. Never videoed him. Never talked to him on the phone. Just 3 years. Sent him $100,000. Because he was working on an oil rig. Of course they are. This one outside of Ireland. And she called me to ask me if I thought she was getting scammed. And I tried to point out all the things, all the red flags to her. But at the end, she did not want to believe that she was getting scammed. What do you do with somebody like that?
It's funny you said that.
We released a video right at the end of last year in December. It was a 2.5-hour YouTube video.
Yeah, a movie.
Talking to this woman named Jody, who was in a very similar situation. In fact, she had been talking to this guy for almost 8 years, and she had been sending him her social security check, her disability check every month for 8 years to this guy. We collabed with a whole nother YouTube channel. We put months of work into it. And it was a 2.5-hour video. And there was a little bit of like investigation and confronting and traveling and trying to confront the money mules and people that were involved. But
plus interviews with her face to face.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Most of the video was a study about her, whatever disorder. I'm not a psychiatrist, but whatever she's struggling with, no matter how much proof we put in front of her, she, at the end of the day, ended up unblocking him and continuing to send him money.
Is that right? Really?
You cannot control it. I mean, we get emails from people all the time that have relatives in a similar situation. And I tell them every single time, it's like, if you haven't convinced them yet, you're probably not going to be able to. The best thing I can recommend is that you just require a video chat. That's the thing, is she had never video chatted him in 8 years, and she believed she was about to marry him.
It's kind of like, it's funny, but it's not funny because it's such a big issue. And she said, hey, I'm lonely. I'm looking for a relationship. I want to believe in this fairy tale.
That's why it's deeper.
It's way deeper than money.
Hey, guys, thanks for being in here. And for everybody who's listening and joining us, make sure you subscribe to the Trilogy Media channel over on YouTube, because you guys are putting out a bunch of great, great stuff, truly. And thanks for everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
All right, so let's talk about some ways that you can avoid being taken by scammers. Of course, obviously, number one, you should be really careful of any unsolicited emails, phone calls, text messages. Scammers are using these methods to get contact with potential victims. Next, you know my mantra, stop and think, don't click the link. Don't click on links or download attachments from unknown sources. You want to be careful about sharing your personal information, talking about your banking account, your social security number. You want to be skeptical of anything that just seems to be too good to be true. There are common scams, lottery scams, phishing scams. There are just so many different scams out there. Make sure that you keep your computer, all your devices updated with the latest software patches and security software. Take a look at your financial accounts and credit reports. Look for any unusual activity. And really trust your instincts. If something feels off, something feels suspicious, it's best to err on the side of caution. Do not engage with the potential scammer. Do not engage. Just delete it. If you have any other questions about scams, or if you wonder if you're getting scammed, I want you to know that you can always reach out to me. I'm going to be your digital partner to make sure that you never, ever get taken by these scammers. I'll tell you what, folks, if you're looking for some great videos to watch, or maybe there's someone in your family who's getting scammed and they don't want to believe you, well, head over to youtube.com/Trilogy Media, and there may be some videos there where you could prove that they are, in fact, getting scammed. Once again, that's youtube.com/Trilogy Media. And guys, thanks for being here. All right, we're going to have to talk about passwords. I hate them. I just can't stand passwords. But I will tell you, I have come up with a way where I can remember passwords and have a unique password for every single website that I visit. And if you can't do that, you can always use a password manager. But you do have to start at the basis, and that is, what constitutes a good password? And if somebody says you need to update your password, well, how do you update that? Well, the worst thing you can do is just go ahead and add a number or a character at the end, because the scammers know this. Okay, and then also you want to stop using common passwords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then some people say, "Oh, I'm going to get so bad at this. I'm going to get so clever at this. I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10." No. Also, password is a bad password. QWERTY, lover boy, sexy boomer, whatever it may be. We don't want to ever use a word in the dictionary. And you want to start using characters instead of letters. So instead of maybe the letter A, you're going to use the @ sign. Instead of an I, you use an exclamation point. And don't worry, we have all these rules written down over on the website. I just want to talk to you about it for just a sec. Now, sites like Amazon, TikTok, Netflix, Etsy, the Wall Street Journal, research has found that they have failed to block easily guessed passwords. So you used to come up and say, "Oh, this is a strong password." You're like, "Okay, yes, I'm secure." So what you want to do is you want to come up with a phrase that means something to you, such as, "I am totally in love with the Kim Komando Show." So instead of the I, it's an exclamation point. A T instead of an O. For totally, it's a 0. So you come up with a phrase that makes sense to you. Now, if you need help figuring all this out, look no further than the official homepage of the Kim Komando Show, which is Komando.com, of course. And there you want to hit the link that says Kim Show. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls, as well as a big rule of thumb that I want us all to remember whenever you install apps. And if you've already made this mistake, we're going to tell you how you can fix it here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, before we go back to your phone calls, just want to remind you that you should be following on social. Wherever you are, I am there at Kim Komando. So whether you're at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, it's at Kim Komando. Instagram is more of my personal life, just to let you know. So you're going to see stuff about what I do when I'm not on the air and I'm not trying to fix tech or whatever it may be. Again, that's Instagram.com/Kim Komando, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you are. It's always at Kim Komando. All right, back to the phones we go with Charles in Roanoke, Virginia. Hello there, Charles.
Hey, Kim. Huge fan here. Thanks for taking my call.
You betcha.
I've usually thought I was pretty good at detecting phishing emails and similar scams, but I recently fell prey to an interesting ad on Facebook, and then that led to something new I'm learning about called a brushing scheme. And I'm hoping you can help me with that.
So tell me what happened.
Yeah, so as Facebook is wanting to do, like search engines, it follows our browsing and search patterns, and I had been looking for raised bed garden planters, and it started feeding me ads for such. And one ad looked good, too good to be true, which I know usually is the case. But I decided even if it was poor quality, I could spare the $50 chance, if you will. Well, right after I placed my order, that's when my spidey sense kicked in. And so I Googled the company name without specifying the URL. I couldn't really find it, either as a legitimate site or any scam reports at all. Then I looked up the credit card charge, saw it was in China, found what clearly appeared to be false reviews, and I called my bank. They showed the merchant, but admitted there was no 800 number that's usually associated with the merchants. So I immediately contested the charge, canceled my credit card. That part was good. And although I was embarrassed, I thought it was over, but not so quickly. Yeah. A couple of weeks later, there was a small flat package in my mailbox with a double label, one over the other. And inside was this ugly silk scarf that I didn't order. And this time my Google search yielded information about brushing scams. And they said that while my financial information was likely not at risk, my personal information was. If this is something that they do it, people try to return the object that was sent to them, and that's when they confirm your address and your personal information. And they start posting false reviews in your name.
Yeah, and that's what the brushing scam is that they send you, like you said, an ugly scarf that you didn't want, you didn't order it. And so that this way you'll be able to write reviews and then you show up as a verified purchaser and that boosts the seller ratings. This is a really, really big problem on Amazon. And it's usually like cheap or low quality items, like you saw scarves, maybe a screen protector, headphones, earbuds seem to be a lot of that, candles, power supplies. And, you know, it's something that I think the likes of Facebook and Amazon and the others are aware of, but it's kind of hard to stop it. And a lot of people just say, well, what do I do?
Okay.
I mean, can I mail it back? No. Okay. And so the general consensus, you know what, you get to keep that ugly scarf, Charles. So, I mean, think about it. You could use it at Halloween. Okay. I mean, think about it. I mean, we'll put a little skirt on you. Those hairy legs will hang out on some sneakers and you put the scarf over your head like a babushka and go to a party and everybody will say, what happened to Charles? Is he transitioning? Is he transitioning? No, he's not. I swear. He's not.
Okay, but is my identity hanging out there more than that and unmasked?
Well, you know, there's so many times that the people are falling for this, but it's always a good idea to freeze your credit anytime you do something that you know now that you shouldn't have done. And we've got the steps on how to freeze the credit at the big agencies. So this way, if somebody wants to get into it, that they can, that at least you'll be notified that somebody's trying to tap into your credit report. But of course, you did the right thing. I mean, you changed the credit cards, right? You got rid of that one. Yep. Might be a good idea just for giggles to change your passwords. Set up some two-factor authentication if you haven't already done that. And also make a complaint at the Internet Crime Complaint Center. That's IC3.gov, and that's the FBI. Okay. And so, will they go after this guy because you got the ugly scarf and you didn't get your planter? Probably not. But if they get enough of ugly scarves and planters, then they can figure out, this is really something that's happening, and that we need to at least get involved and try to stop it so that it doesn't continue on. And tell you, it's just overall, let me tell you, it's a bad idea. It's just a bad idea to buy things off of Facebook ads. Just go to the website, go to Amazon, go to Walmart, Target, wherever you go, because a lot of this is just junk being shipped directly from China. Charles, thank you so much for your call. And if you do wear that scarf, send me a pic. Just some rules of thumb. If you ever receive a package that you didn't order, especially it's from a foreign country, unknown sender, you need to be suspicious. Don't open the package up. Then you also want to check your online accounts to see if any of these unauthorized purchases were made. Be sure that you change your password, enable two-factor authentication. You also want to keep an eye on your credit report to make sure that no fraudulent accounts have been opened up in your name. And if you do receive an unsolicited package or suspect that you have been a victim of a brushing scam, report that activity to whatever website it came from. You also want to contact your local post office and law enforcement. All right, think about your phone's contact list. What does it have? Photos, names, email addresses, birthdays, work numbers, some notes. Now, sometimes it may be like, oh, okay, well, maybe Twitter or Meta, they're actually being nice. And when I go onto their service or use their app, it says, would you like to connect your address book, your contact list with your profile so that this way more people can know about you? It even happens in online games. And then you're like, oh, thank you, Big Tech, for always looking out for me. Of course you can do that. All right, don't do that. Your friend and family's personal data is theirs. It's not yours to give away. And if you've already done this, I want you to go into your settings of wherever you did it and disconnect that. So this way they don't get all the updates. Just remember that contact list, your device's address book, it is yours. Okay? It contains your personal information. Do not share the information of your family members and friends. It's not yours to give up. Hey, do me a favor, tell 3 friends about The Kim Komando Show. And don't forget, we always are available as a podcast, great content on the go. Just search for Komando with a K. And if you need more info, it's at komando.com. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise, home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim.
Optimism isn't sunshine and rainbows. It's fixing things, changing the way we fix things. It's running the world on smarter energy. Because if optimism never stops, then change can't either. GE Vernova, the energy of change.
It's the Kim Komando Show podcast and a replay from the weekend of March 18th, 2023. Thanks for listening. Hope you're having a good Memorial Day weekend. Here's hour 2.
All right, I always like to start with something interesting. And I don't know if you know this, but Waymo is Google's self-driving car division. And they've been doing a lot of testing and driving around Phoenix. It's not uncommon to see the cars. I've seen them many times. They're loaded with cameras. And the car makes kind of like this Jetson futuristic noise as it goes down the streets, kind of like when a Tesla backups. Well, now you can hail a Waymo self-driving taxi to and from Sky Harbor Airport here in Phoenix, Arizona. So to book a ride, you just download the Waymo app, and then you have to join what they're calling the Trusted Tester Program. That's right, you're trusted. Okay, I guess you're trusted, right? Well, you have to trust that this self-driving taxi doesn't become one of those self-driving crashing cars, because after all, remember, with these Waymo cars, no drivers are installed. Ooh, yes. Hey, welcome to the nation's largest, most trusted show about all things digital. It's called The Kim Komando Show because, after all, I'm America's beloved digital goddess here with you once again. And if you're a new listener, we're so glad that you're here. If you listen to us all the time, welcome back. And you can find the show on over 425 top stations across the United States. And we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando. And you can also get us as a podcast, as a webcast, and use our interactive chat and our message boards, a whole bunch more. It's a lot of fun over at the Komando community. And you can learn more over at getkim.com. And, of course, we have discounts for seniors, service personnel, teachers, active military, and vets. And a special shout-out goes to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and Space Force in 175 different countries. And if you're just too shy to come on a big-time show, hey, I get that. You can drop me your question over at the website. That's Komando.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. And I'd like to thank Simply Safe for helping to make this show possible. All right, every single day, I check out 30 different websites to make sure that you all are up to date on all things digital. And this is part of the show where I like to talk about the apps and the programs, the products, things that are coming soon. And we're going to start with Venmo. And if you're doing a little two-timing on the side, I don't think you want to use Venmo to pay for your dates. See, your friends and family can see how you're spending your money, and sometimes even what you spent it on. And get this, a new study, 2 in 5 people who use Venmo share sensitive information on the app. Here's a real-life example. This guy, Mark, he was scrolling through his newsfeed, and he saw that one of his buddies was sending money to a lady he didn't recognize. So Mark starts looking through all his friend's transactions. Okay, nice friend. He figures out that his buddy was cheating on his love interest. So Venmo is half peer-to-peer payment app, half social media. So the Venmo app itself has a news feed showing payments and messages between users, unless it's in private mode. So while you think of Venmo payment as just like splitting a check at a restaurant, not so much. It can be out there for everybody to see. And speaking of, by the way, if you go to Rome, the Vatican, you have to remember this, the Vatican does not accept Venmo. They only take PayPal. Get it? PayPal, Vatican. Yes, I know you laughed. Next on our list, number 2, why? I just don't know why. You can't ship live animals on eBay or Etsy. That's a good thing. But what you can buy, which I don't understand, are dead animals. You can get ducks, rabbits, bobcats, mice, moose. Guess what? Bats. Dead bats are big sellers. More than 500 dead bat listings ran on Etsy and 71 on eBay in the last month. Apparently, people want them as presents. They make garter belts out of them. Yuck. Barrettes. Some people just like to display them on shelves. But scientists are disturbed by this dead bat trend. Some of them, when popping up online, are endangered, hard to find in nature. So one is the painted woolly bat, which is usually found in Southeast Asia. Of course it is. Vivid orange, black, attracts hunters and buyers. But here's the thing. They only have one offspring between an adult male and a female, so they can't be mass collected by hunters. And most of the people selling these items online are Americans. The whole idea is just batty. Number 3, you better up your game right now. Google is not wanting to be left in the AI dust. So this past week, they announced something that they're called the Magic Wand. Ooh, I want a Magic Wand too. And it's a system for email collaboration and cloud software. And so gone are the days of spending hours and hours creating marketing blogs, training plans, other documents. With Google's Magic Wand, you create all these things in no time. You can even summarize message threads, create slide presentations, take meeting notes. AI is going to be doing everything. So if you want to write a quick post or article, you just type in the topic, and guess what? Magic Wand generates the draft for you. And I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time before AI gets so good that workers will not be required with these sets of skills. So meanwhile, Microsoft is like, hey, what about us? Well, they have a new AI co-pilot for Microsoft's 365 that includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. Makes you all wonder, doesn't it? Like, what are we going to really need to do in the workforce 20 years from now? What is that truly going to look like? All right, number 4 on our list, a new way to make money online. Speaking of AI, what about fact checkers? That's right, they're going to become more important, not just because of fake news, but because of AI. So this is an actual skill set that people want right now, companies, and that you might want to look at. Now, first, you have to learn how to spot, say, fake news, fake facts, and dig for sources. And then if you're over on LinkedIn, you can start searching for remote fact-checking gigs and apply. Now, you're going to be amazed at about how many different opportunities are out there, especially with all these AI writers popping up left and right, ChatGPT, other tools that need fact-checking. So in case you're looking for a side gig and you're really good at research, this might be the one for you. Speaking of, Facebook has got a new fake news filter. That's right. All I want to know is when they're going to get their real one. That's what I want. And last of this, coming in at number 5, oh, you sneaky, sneaky Samsung. What have you done to us? So I don't know if you've seen all these stunning photos of the moon that are going viral online and taken with Samsung phones. And maybe because you saw all these moon photos, you're like, wow, I need to buy a Samsung phone. Well, a Redditor intentionally took a picture of a blurry moon with his Samsung phone. And when he took the picture, he was like, okay, it's a blurry moon. But when he looks at the photo on his phone, oh my gosh, it's crystal clear. It has all these details that aren't even in the moon, but it's right there on his phone. He's looking on his phone. He's like, puts on his glasses. No, moon blurry. No, moon looks great on my phone. What's going on? Now, Samsung says, we are only using artificial intelligence to enhance the details of the moon. Okay, Samsung's process doesn't just improve the sharpness of blurry details. It also adds more artifacts. It adds more details altogether. And it's kind of like where we're drawing the line between like real and fake photography, isn't it? So if you see those moon images and your moon doesn't look like the Samsung moon, that could be the reason why. And I'll tell you, I'm currently obsessed with the moon, obsessed with the moon, although I think it's just a phase. All right, coming up, I got a great tip. You're going to love this. How you can get real college credits on YouTube. Yes, real ones. We have our trivia question of the week that I'm telling you, it's a little bit tough, and it has to do with Facebook and when they got started. In our money tip, we have some things that if you buy on Amazon that you're just not going to be able to return them. And then later on, how to tell if there's a hidden GPS tracker in your car. And of course, we have all of your phone calls, and you have me, Kim Commando. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And coming up, we're going to talk about how you can get real college credits on YouTube. And how about we start with Phil in Kansas City, Kansas. Hello there, Phil.
Hello, Kim. How are you today?
I'm terrific. What's going on?
Well, it was a question concerning what I've seen as an advertisement as my wife and I have moved forward in streaming as opposed to cable, and trying to keep up, for example, of what are we using, what are we canceling, whatever the case may be within the various different whatever types of streaming that we may be doing from whatever program it may be. So we happen to be and have been with Rocket Mortgage for a long time. I've suddenly seen, maybe it's been there for a while, but Rocket Money. And one of the things that they do is canceling literally, at least as advertised, canceling subscriptions, other things about spending, net worth, so on and so forth. So I was calling to see what you thought about the program. How good is it? Are there other programs that are just as valid?
Well, here's the deal, is that you're not uncommon, and I have fallen victim to it myself, is that you just signing up for streaming service after streaming service after streaming service, and it's like, oh, well, we have to watch 1883, and that's only on Paramount Plus. But what about The Handmaid's Tale? We have to see that on Hulu along with Entourage. But what about Yellowstone? I mean, it's like, okay, here we go. Then we want to watch The Crown, and we got to get the service for that. It does get overwhelming. And one of the things, just before we talk about Rocket Money, is that you might want to check out is there's a couple of websites. One's called Just Watch, and the other one's called Real Good. And you can create free accounts at either one, and where you list the shows that you're watching that are streaming, and then it tells you which service that it's on, when it's going to appear, when new episodes will drop, so you can cancel and then re-up the next time, whatever the series is that you want to take a look at. Okay, so let's move to Rocket Money. That it used to be called True Bill, and I was skeptical myself. Like, how can this really work, right? I mean, it just kind of sounds a little too good to be true. I'm going to download an app, and it's going to help me get rid of subscriptions that I'm no longer using. So right. Rocket Money came to me about 6 weeks ago, and they said, we'd like to advertise on the show. And I said, yeah, well, first you got to prove your worth, right? So I installed Rocket Money, Phil, and I was very, very skeptical. I mean, how come I can't do what they're doing? And why do I want to tie my checking and my credit card accounts to this service? And what kind of encryption are they going to do? So I checked out all the encryption because it's kind of scary because you're giving them your banking password and your credit card password. But the encryption is very, very stringent. That scans all your bills, your incoming payments. And then I hit the big magical button and they said, show me my subscriptions. Okay. I had no idea, Phil, that I was paying $9.99 a month for Paramount Plus Premium. I had no idea I was paying $15.99 a month for HBO Max. I was paying AAA $145 a year for some reason. I have no idea why. Okay.
Yeah.
And then all totaled, I just got rid of those, and it totaled up to about $450, about $456.76, which that is substantial that's a lot of money. And then I started looking at the other things. But what I also liked is that it shows our electric bill had gone up very high, which alerted me to that the solar wasn't working the way that it should. And the app was not alerting me that it wasn't working. So in answer to your question, I think it's a great app. I really do. Your gas bills, your credit cards, you see money that's coming in, money that's leaving. It is safe. It's secure. It uses bank level encryption. And by the way, it's only read-only access to all your accounts. And it was just really fascinating to me to go through and see exactly what we're paying for, because I had thought that I had canceled that, especially the HBO Max, because that's $16 a month. But at the end of the day, I wasn't. Can I say, yeah, I'm too busy, I work 60 hours a week, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, those are all excuses. I just need to be paying more attention. And this helped me pay attention. And it does help me pay attention. Now, they will go in and try to renegotiate, which I haven't done this yet. They'll go in and try to renegotiate your cable bill too, and your internet bill, whatever it may be. And then they take a percentage of the savings, which, you know what? I'm okay with that, because if they're going to do all the work, they're going to save me money. So, in case you want to check it out, go to rocketmoney.com/Kim. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. Or you can use promo code Kim when you download it. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. Hey, Phil, thanks so much for your call. And after you install it, let me know how much money you've saved. Now, keep in mind, many subscription services will send you renewal reminders via email or push notifications. You can set up alerts in your calendar or your reminder app. But I also want you to be sure that you check your Apple or Google Play subscriptions too, and look really, really carefully. I have to tell you, at the beginning of the year, I was going to try this intermittent fasting app, and I tried it for like a month. I'm like, this is dumb. I'm not going to do this. And so I go over to my Apple subscriptions to remove it. Guess what it called itself? Prime Delivery. It's an intermittent fasting app. I totally narked on them over to Apple, by the way, trying to get people to think it's Amazon Prime. Sneaky, sneaky people. All right, here's the deal. YouTube and Arizona State University, they teamed up to give you a taste of college without breaking the bank, and you get real credits. You can take 4 courses: human communication, rhetoric and composition, real-world college math. Sounds like fun. Or history. You get the option to get credit for these courses. You pay $25 per class. And the really great part is you can retake the classes as many times as you want to get the grade you're after. All developed by Arizona State University, so it's totally legit. Again, those classes are over on YouTube. We got more info about it on the website at commando.com. And coming up, we have our trivia question of the week and some things you shouldn't buy on Amazon. And, of course, we have more of your phone calls and more of me that you don't want to miss here on the Kim Komando Show. That don't forget, you can also get as a podcast. Just search for Komando with a K wherever you get your podcasts. It's time for what I like to call Commanding the Tech World Trivia. And our very special guest contestant joining us this week to win a really great prize. I'm talking about people who will stop me in the street saying, Kim, how do I get an official Kim Komando Show fanny pack? And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. You can only get it if you play Commanding the Tech World Trivia. And joining us this week is Jody in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello there, Jody.
Hi, Kim.
So what do you do there in Indianapolis?
Well, I was a nurse for 20 years, and I'm retired, and now I work at my husband's construction company.
Awesome. Well, that's great. So you know about Facebook. Do you have a Facebook account?
I do, yes.
Okay. And so our trivia question today is about Facebook. And Facebook launched in 2004. And at that time, Jody, it was only available to Harvard University students, and then expanded to other universities and high schools, and eventually everybody in the globe got a Facebook account. And by the end of 2004, they had about 1 million registered users, which was really big for just a year being in business. So we're going to go back. We're going to go back to 2004, and you were a nurse then, and we're going to talk about features that Facebook had when it launched that it no longer has today. So you have to decide which one of the 4 is not true. Again, this is Facebook 1.0, and these are 4 features that Facebook had in 2004. Now, one of them is not true. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one is something called poke. So when it first launched, you could poke somebody to get their attention. So a message would pop up and say, Kim poked you. Okay. That was one feature. The next feature was a wall. In the early days of Facebook, each person had a wall that other people could post messages and comments on, and now it's called your timeline. 3, they had news feed filters. So this way you could say, I only want to see news from these sources or from these specific people. Or was it dating, that you could create a separate dating profile and then connect with matches through shared interest in events? So which one of these 4 features were not part of the first version of Facebook? Was it the poking feature, so you can get somebody's attention, the wall that you could post messages or comments, filters so you could only see from certain people or certain news sources, or did they have a dating app? So which one is not true?
I would probably have to go with the filters and think, since everybody's tracking everybody nowadays, that has come about after the fact. So I'm going to go with the third one.
All right. So Jody's going with the news filters, the feed filters. She's saying that those were not a part of the first version of Facebook. And what do our judges say?
Oh, no.
Womp, womp. They did have the filters. They got rid of them. They got rid of them. You were kind of on the right track. They got rid of the filters because of all the tracking. I mean, they said, oh, no, we want to be able to show everybody anything that we want them to see, not just what they want to see. The dating was not there. It actually started in May of 2018. They said that they would start beating out the likes of Tinder and so on, but it never really took off. A lot of people have simply forgotten that Facebook has a dating option. Right now, they have about 300,000 registered users for the dating option in New York City. Okay. That's a big town, right?
Yeah.
Bumble has over 3 million users. So you can see that the Facebook dating is just not taking off.
No.
All right.
No.
Well, thanks for playing along. And I know you have a question for me, and how can I lend a hand?
Yes. So as I mentioned before, I'm a retired nurse. I started my nursing career when it was pen and paper, and we slowly moved into technology, and that's the only technology I've learned. Now that I'm with my husband's construction company, he wants to go a little more tech by scanning in research, receipts, maybe QuickBook Pro, sending me notes electronically. And I just really don't want to go back to school for a technology degree. Is there other places that I can learn how to just do what we're doing in our business?
Well, yeah, just have somebody kind of walk you through some of the steps. Let me tell you what the best case scenario would be. If you could do it, Jody, is if you could have somebody come over to your business and you show them everything that you want to do, and then they kind of walk you through by hand how to do that. And how you would find that person is by contacting a local college or university there in Indy and ask if they have in their computer information systems department somebody who is available to do that. And they normally charge anywhere between $20 and $25 an hour. The reason why is because then you get that one-on-one support and that lesson, and then you can also record it. Now, that said, if that's not available, just know that Microsoft Office, if you go over onto their website, they have free online courses for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. Quicken has some online training courses too. Now, of course, you can find anything and anything on YouTube, right? As far as anytime you want to get some done. Now, there are some online courses, some places where you can go, and the learning will cover Office and Quicken and maybe even get you from a beginner to advanced if you don't want to have somebody come over to your place. The couple of places that I recommend is called Coursera, and another one's called Udemy, like Udemy, and also there's LinkedIn Learning. And so what's nice is that you can look at some of these classes online and you can say, I kind of like the way that they teach, or I don't like the way that they teach. But there's a ton of resources online, but, sometimes it's just easier. You know what I'm talking about? Like, think about going back to be like, if you watch somebody try to find a vein, right? On a video versus you actually somebody saying, okay, we're going to put it here, the tourniquet here, we're going to, tap onto the vein, we're going to try to get it up. And if that doesn't work, we're going to get an ultrasound. So, think about how you approached nursing that was very hands-on. And that's the same thing really with technology, is that hands-on, it's really great if you can get it. But if you can't, because of time, because of where you're located, whatever it may be, just know that Microsoft Office has some free classes, so does Quicken. And then, of course, you can find classes all over YouTube. And those sites that I mentioned once again was Coursera, Udemy, and also LinkedIn Learning. Jody, thanks for playing our trivia question. If you need any help whatsoever, just know I'm always here for you. All right. We came up with this money tip idea in an editorial meeting the other day because we started thinking about Amazon returns. just about anything that you buy on Amazon, I was saying that, you're just so easy to just return it. You just go to orders and you say return and replace. You fill out the form and then you just bop it in the mail. And everybody's like, no. There are things that you can never return to Amazon if you buy them. And I'm like, wow, I'm not sure I ever really thought about that. Which, by the way, when it comes to Amazon returns, you can also return things into the Amazon Hub lockers, UPS stores, USPS, Kohl's, Whole Foods. And some states or towns also have physical Amazon stores. And by the way, I will tell you, if you do take something back to a physical store, make sure that you get a receipt. I'm always in a hurry. I'm telling you that right now. So I had 2 pairs of jeans that I was returning back to a UPS store. And I was in a hurry. I'm like, no, I don't need a receipt. And the gal looked at the jeans. She's like, wow, these are really great jeans. You don't want them? I'm like, no, I just didn't like the way that they fit. They were too big on me. And then it took me like 6 weeks and a lot of pounding to make sure that I got that credit. So word to the wise, always get that receipt. So as a ground rule, Amazon generally gives you 30 days to return an item. But here are more specifics. Your devices, your laptops, your desktop, your Kindles cannot be returned more than 30 days after delivery. You cannot return digital items. I'm talking about downloadable software products, open software, online subscriptions after you've accessed them. You can't return gift cards, except as required by law, and those prepaid game cards, such as those as Xbox 360 Live or Wii Points. Now, you can't return hazardous materials. I didn't know they sold those, but flammable liquids or gases. And non-returnable items that arrive damaged or defective are eligible for a refund or replacement. So what exactly can you not return? Some jewelry orders, grocery products, any product missing the serial number or the UPC, live insects. Okay. I had no idea that you can buy live insects on Amazon, but now you know. Let's see, some health and personal care items, customized products. And if this does happen and you want to return it, what you want to do is reach out to the seller and say, my live insects didn't return. I guess I can't return those, but they arrived dead. I need to send them back. Oh, live insects. Anyway, it goes with that baddie story that we did at the beginning of the hour. I don't know what happened to this hour of the show. Anyway, in case you want to check out the whole list and learn more, head over to the website. That's commando.com. And once you're there, hit the link that says Kim Show. All right, letter from our listener mail. How you could tell there's a hidden GPS tracker in your car. How can you tell? Well, that answer is still to come, as well as more of your phone calls here on the Kim Commando Show. All right, just a quick reminder that you can get our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure that you sign up for our daily tech update. That's just 2 minutes a day. One, you get the top news story of the day, and then you also get a tech life hack that you're going to use time and time again. These are just fabulous, in my humble opinion. Of course, I know. I produce them. I write them. I think you're going to love them, and I know you will. So just search for Commando with a K wherever you get your podcasts. All right, back to the phones we go with Brady in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Hello there, Brady.
Hello, Digital Goddess. How are you today?
I am great. How can I lend a hand?
Well, love listening to your show. I've been listening for a long time, and now it's finally come to the time for to wonder whether I should be replacing the battery in my phone because it's discharging fairly quick, or if, since it's an iPhone 10, is it just time to retire it and move on? Is Apple going to support it that much longer in the future?
It's always that question, isn't it? Do I pay to fix it? Is it worth fixing? Should I just go buy a new one? And it seems to be like anything that we have in tech comes under those categories at some point. The iPhone that you have was released in 2017, which generally means that Apple is going to stop assigning any type of updates, firmware updates, probably this year. Okay, so it's not going to receive any more software updates, which means that you need to get a new phone. And I know a lot of people are like, Apple does this on purpose. It's planned obsolescence and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? It's just the way it is. And I wish it was different because, like, for example, I have a 1946 Chevy pickup truck. And I love that truck, okay? But it just doesn't work that way in technology. What is the percentage of the battery?
It only gets 86% of the full charge now.
Typically, you're almost on the borderline. It's about 80% is when we say, all right, it's time to replace the battery. And replacing the battery can cost anywhere from, say, $15 to $100. And the phone's battery is designed to retain at least 80% of the original capacity after 500 complete charge cycles. So the question is, because the battery is acting up, because it's no longer in warranty, I'm sure it's not, unless you have Apple Care Plus, they may replace the battery, but still the phone is going to be replaced. So it may be time for you to, I'm sorry, spend money and get a new phone. Because, it's kind of like not what we want to do. The latest iPhone models are anything from, say, $400, which is a 2020 version of the iPhone SE, to the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which is, $1,600. So it really depends on what you want to do. But just know that the phone that you have right now, it's not going to last much longer, simply because it's going out of date. And that's just the way it is. If you need some more information about which iPhone to buy, we have some handy dandy charts over on the website. Just hit commando.com. And Brady, thank you so much for your call today. I do appreciate you getting through. All right, let's talk about some general rules about your iPhone's battery. You want to keep it anywhere between 20% and 80% for the best battery lifespan. So if you let your battery drain to zero, it's going to cause stress on the battery. And what that means, it reduces the battery's overall lifespan. And similarly, the same way that if you keep your iPhone plugged in all the time, this can cause overcharging, which, can also damage the battery over time. So it's best to charge your iPhone before the battery level drops too low, ideally before it reaches 20%. And then once it reaches 80%, you can unplug it so this way it doesn't overcharge. So it's also a good idea to avoid, putting your iPhone into like excessive heat or excessive cold too. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that over the next few weeks, that if you're getting the official Kim Komando Show newsletters, that things are changing. We're mixing it up. We're getting with the times. And so what that means is that, over 400,000 people trust us to get their news via our email newsletters, our tech news tips, tricks, and secrets, and security alerts. And as I said, we're kind of mixing it up. The design's going to be different. Less ads, more meat. You're just going to love them. And so if you are getting our newsletters, just know that it's going to be looking a little bit differently over the next couple of weeks. And then we always want to get your feedback, and we have ways for you to let us know how we're doing with it. And if you are not getting our newsletters, now is a perfect time for you to sign up. Head over to commando.com/subscribe. That's commando.com/subscribe. All right, letter from our listener mail. Gal wants to know if maybe her ex put a hidden GPS tracker in her car, and what are some signs that they may be there. Okay, number one, unusual noises. You might hear some beeping, buzzing, clicking, humming. It could indicate that a tracker is transmitting data or receiving a signal. Maybe you start seeing some wires that look out of place. These could be maybe a battery-powered tracker that's hidden under the hood, behind the dashboard, inside the glove box. You may also see some magnets or metal objects that are stuck to the car's exterior. Now, these could be used for maybe one of those Apple AirTags or trial trackers. They like to put them on the underside of the car, like near the wheel wells, the bumper, or the exhaust pipe, also inside the trunk. Now, you may experience a sudden drop in your car's battery life or performance. This could mean that maybe a tracker is drawing power from it and causing it to drain faster. Now, if you're on iPhone, they're going to alert you if somebody puts an AirTag. If you're on Android with these AirTags, I want you to make sure that you get the third-party app called AirGuard. We have more information over the website, or you can always find me 24/7 at komando.com.
It's the Kim Komando Show podcast for the Memorial Day weekend of 2023, and this is a replay from March 18th. Here now, it's Hour 3.
I always like to begin with something interesting for you guys and gals. Now, the official trailer about the true story of BlackBerry was just released, and they say it's the first film to cover the rise and fall of the world's first smartphone that was worth $70 billion at its peak. I had no idea. The movie comes out in May, but I have to tell you, I was really never a BlackBerry fan, but certainly at that time, boy, there were some true diehard fans who loved, and they still miss, having that physical keyboard on a phone. They really, really wanted that. But speaking of BlackBerry, here's a joke that you can tell the kids. You ready? What do you get when you eat a BlackBerry? What do you get when you eat a BlackBerry? Are you ready for it? Bluetooth. Yes, I know. Hey, welcome to the nation's largest, most trusted show about all things digital. I'm, of course, Kim Komando with you once again, America's beloved digital goddess. And you can find my award-winning show on over 425 top radio stations across the United States. And we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando. And you can find us as a podcast, webcast, on demand 24/7 with 3 months worth of archives over at getkim.com. And it's a free 30-day trial, by the way, and after that's just a few bucks a month. But we do offer discounts for seniors, service personnel, active military, vets, teachers, really just about anybody, I'll tell you that. Learn more over at getkim.com. And a big special hello goes out to all of our listeners in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and Space Force who are listening right now on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in 175 different countries. And you're about ready to get more tech smarts because everything's digital. And if you're a regular listener, I'm so glad that you're here. And if you're a new listener, hey, welcome. We're so glad that you found us. And I'm sure that you have a few questions about something digital I can lend a hand to. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And just a quick reminder, you can always drop me your questions on the website. I read every single one. That's commando.com. And in the right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. All right, every single day I go all over the web and I talk to industry insiders to make sure that I'm up to date about all things digital so that this way you're up to date about all things digital and you can sound like a tech wizard even if you're not one. And this is part of the show where I like to focus on the numbers. And we're going to start with our first story of 5, and it's a big number, 600 million. 600 million is the headline. Well, it's a $600 million class action lawsuit settlement that I bet you can be a part of. And you don't even have to prove that you're a part of it. Because if you had a big clunky box, talking about a TV in the 1990s, you are entitled to a slice of this pie. Now, before you start thinking about, health risks, safety risks, maybe that's how so-and-so got cancer. No, it's all about price fixing. Companies like Mitsubishi, Philips, Panasonic, Toshiba, they all got in the action and they made customers pay more for their TVs and monitors. So who can cash in on this? Pretty much anyone who bought one of these TVs from a retail outlet, maybe Best Buy or Costco. You don't have to prove that you purchased one either. So you might be wondering am I going to get rich? Can I go to Hawaii on a big vacation on this? No, it's a class action lawsuit. You're never going to make a lot of money, but you're going to get at least $10 per TV, $10 per TV. So it's not a fortune. Maybe you can go to Starbucks. If you want to know more about this, we have links and some more news about it over at commando.com. And so again, it's the $600 million class action lawsuits. Wow. Old TVs. Who knew? Next on our list, number 2, I want you to watch out for dark patterns. The FTC just came down hard on Epic Games, the makers of course, Fortnite. They're slapping Epic with a $245 million fine for tricking players into making unwanted purchases. Yeah, according to the FTC, they used what's called dark patterns. A lot of companies do this. They dupe us into spending money on in-game purchases. So that means your kid hits a button that looks like it closes the screen, but instead makes a purchase. It's sneaky and it's scammy and it's slimy. So basically, Epic is using shady tactics to squeeze as much money as possible out of players. That's not the first time that they got caught. A few months ago, they had to pay $275 million for violating children's privacy laws. Now, if you were a parent and you were ticked off at your kid because they made these purchases, what you can do is get a hold of Epic's customer support department and say, you know what? You did this to my kid because of dark patterns, maybe yourself. And I know about the FTC lawsuit, and I want you to refund my money. Yes, that's what you can do. I'll tell you, Fortnite. It's just a crazy game. So many people are playing it for so long. Next on our list, number 3, I just don't get it. More about gaming. We're going to go to China, where this past week, the video game Counter-Strike, someone there paid $160,000, real dollars, to get a digital skin on their AK-47. Yes. Somebody spent $160,000 to buy a digital outfit for their video game gun. It's not physical. It's just digital. The skit is called The White Lotus. It's flowery designs and stickers. And a lot of Counter-Strike players say, yeah, I think that it's actually worth that kind of money. There are other players who even spent more than this. In the game Entropia Universe, I've never heard of, someone stole a digital space station for $330,000. A nightclub. This is a virtual nightclub in a video game for $635,000. And a planet. Gosh, for $6 million. A virtual planet? Are you kidding me? This is virtual goods being paid with real honest to goodness money. I just don't get it. Next on our list is number 4. Before you check out, I want you to wash the floors. Airbnb, they say, we want you to do a little bit more cleanup, not just taking out the trash or maybe changing the sheets or changing the towels, washing the towels, whatever it may be. Some people are paying up to $375 in cleanup fees, and they still have to do the housework. Folks on social media are all over complaining about this. One guest said that an Airbnb host asked them to mow the lawn before they left. Wow, that's chutzpah, isn't it? Others have been told to clean the microwave, vacuum, maybe feed the animals on the property, and it hasn't stopped people from loving Airbnb. A recent study from Morning Consult showed that Airbnb consumer favorability was slightly higher than it was in 2021. They turned a profit of, get this, $1.9 billion last year. Wow, what a phenomenal success story. I love entrepreneurs, don't you? These are two guys who started a company by renting out an air mattress in San Francisco years ago. That's actually the true story. And last, this, coming in at number 5, watch out if you're a Tesla owner, because after all, you can lock and unlock your Tesla using an app. Now, here's the problem. A guy in Canada pulled out his smartphone key and he drove off in a white Tesla Model 3. Problem, it was not his Tesla. He accidentally drove off in an identical one that was parked right next to his. Now, here's kind of the weird part. He was able to pick up his kids driving around for 90 minutes with no problem. He didn't realize that this was strange and it wasn't his own Tesla until he's like, I don't remember my windshield being cracked. Where's my phone charger? Did somebody steal my phone charger? It wasn't his car. And that's not the end of the story. The other Tesla owner was able to unlock his Tesla and drive away too. Wow. Isn't that crazy? Now, before you say Tesla backwards, just make sure that everyone's ready. All set? Oh, I know. All right, coming up, we have some apps to help you get into shape. And Allie, our amazing content queen, is going to be joining us. We're going to talk about some spring cleaning. And let's see, a listener asked me, where's the safest place to store my wife's naked pictures? Well, we've got that coming up, as well as more of your phone calls and more of me, Kim Commando. Hey, listen, I just want to let you know that our newsletters are going through a major revamp and change, and it's going to have a new look, new focus, more meat, and less ads. So if you're not getting our newsletters already, make sure that you sign up right now at commando.com/subscribe. Okay, so imagine you're in this scenario. You're driving in the mountains. It starts snowing. It's cold. And then, oh my gosh, the worst. Your car gets stuck. And it's not stuck in a way that you can get out of. You're far away from all human beings. You have no cell phone service. This is truly a life-threatening situation. Well, this is exactly what happened to Casey Ryan. He was driving up in an Oregon National Park in the Cascades when his car was snowed in. And Casey, I wanted you to come on and tell us your story. Oh my gosh, how innovative, how smart of you to think about this. But where were you going that day? What were you doing?
Well, I was heading up in the mountains with my dog and my friend. I'm a photographer and an artist. That day we were just kind of making a usual trek up into the mountains. We're always either doing some sort of garbage cleanup or pollution control, little, volunteer projects in the mountains. I had kind of gotten a hunch, and I had told my friend, what if somebody is up here? Because these tracks do look fairly fresh. And I was wondering maybe there could be a chance there's a vehicle stuck up here. And so we both still figured, well, we better chain up or call it. So, but coming around that next corner, sure enough, there's a van buried in, looking like it slid sideways. Wow. And,
Now, how deep was the snow at this point?
It ended up being about 2 feet where her vehicle was. She ended up getting out of the vehicle. I kind of assumed maybe it was a vehicle that had been left there, but sure enough, somebody was in it. Luckily, she had food and water and a little dog. And everyone was seeming okay, but she had said she'd been there a couple of days and
wow,
didn't really have a plan. So I think she was really, really hoping somebody would come along.
And that was you, right?
Yep, me and a buddy. Yep. So I kind of did what I usually do if I'm in that scenario. I've pulled a few people out before. I just said, yeah, I've got a rope and we've got recovery boards and shovels, and just give me a minute to turn around and we'll get it squared away for you. And went to turn around, and that's when I sunk down into the snow drift, and we were able to dig out a couple of times. We pulled out the shovels, no big deal. Let me just get it going. And we broke free a few times, but that last turnaround, we just sunk in, and it was starting to lock up, and the weather was starting to get really cold really fast.
And was it getting dark then too?
It was about 30 minutes from getting dark, but we had still dug for a little while longer until we were both covered in sweat and realized, okay, we're probably going to have to come up with another plan. And so I asked her, do you have any radio? She happened to have a CB radio. So we scanned that, and then me and my friends scanned through the walkie-talkies we had, and we couldn't find any channels or anybody. So I also looked at the mountain. That's what kind of started to spin the wheels on the idea. We're hiking all the time, and we run into the tops of mountains that have cell phone service all the time. So
then you get the idea, we're going to attach the phone to the drone.
Use a paracord just around the base where the battery goes, and then hung it down about another 6 inches. And I had never launched from my hand, but I'd landed in my hand before. So I figured, well, maybe it's the same thing. I just held it real stable and got it going. And after a minute, I could feel it was trying to pull the weight of my hand and whatever I was holding. And then I just kind of boosted it up and just floored it towards the sky, and it went way, way up there. But
that's awesome. So how many feet did it go?
I would say a number of probably a few hundred feet or more. I had to kind of max it out in order to get the signal, because as I'm going up, I'm like halfway up the mountain, and I can tell by looking across that the angle isn't right, and the battery's already now at 50% just from that one little short flight in the cold.
So how long did you let it sit up there?
I hovered it for about 2 or 3 minutes. That's when I just kind of took a few pictures actually while I was up there, and I was like, okay, well, we need to leave it so it has time to send, because when you send a message on an iPhone, you really only have a few, like maybe 2 or 3 minutes before it says not delivered. So I knew I had to get it wrapped up, or send the text, get it wrapped up, get it tied up, taped up, and sent up all within 2 or 3 minutes. And so it worked. When that drone was coming back down the first time, it was really wobbling. You could see the phone was swinging like this because it's going in front of there, in front of that light when you're looking up at it. It's just a teeny little dot in the sky, and that's what kind of, I was like, man, I got some good elevation. I think we might have caught this message out. Sure enough, that first text got sent out. And
who did you address the text to? Who was getting the text?
Oh, well, my wife's from Uganda in Africa. She's visiting family and friends this last couple of months, and so she's the most amazing person in my life. I always send her the first message of everything. And so I sent the text straight to Uganda to my wife, telling her the scenario. We're 25 to 30 miles into the mountains. We do have food and water. We do have supplies. There's another vehicle up here that we have found that's stranded as well.
So what happened the next morning?
Yeah, the next morning we woke up. It was 12 degrees. The snow around the truck is now just pure ice. You couldn't even, I pulled out this rock hammer and it was like chipping rock. And I was like, there's no way we're going to chip our way out of this thing. So, as far as I can tell, she says that she's reached out to somebody because she let me know she's not just going to leave us out there. Once I had gotten contact, I knew she would do something, but I was kind of thinking, I'm wondering what it's going to be.
So this is really great stuff, really, Casey. So you were able to get your phone, hook it up to the drone, get the drone to at least send that message to your wife, and then you were able to get help and help other people along the way. But we're so glad that you're safe and you told us the story, because who knows, Casey, maybe someday somebody's saying, you know what, we're in the snow, we got a phone, we got a drone, now we can be like Casey Ryan and we're going to save everybody's life. Casey, thank you so much for being here with us. It's an incredible story.
I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me on.
Stay right where you are. We have more tricks, tips, and secrets coming up here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, still to come this hour, We have where's the safest place to store my wife's naked pictures? Yeah, a letter in our listener mail. And also later on, it's a question that I also get so many times. How do I know if my iPhone or Android isn't listening to every single thing that's happening around me and that I say? And joining us right now on the Kim Komando Show is our amazing content queen, Allie Seligman. And Allie, we're going to talk about spring cleaning that doesn't require Clorox, right? I hate the smell.
That's what I think of, right? When I say spring cleaning, is there a task that comes to mind for you?
Wow. Cleaning out closets.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Here's the deal. I will do a lot of things around the house. Okay. I wash the floors.
Wait for the butt. What's coming?
I love to vacuum, and I'm so obsessed. I have this brand new Dyson Animal Plus vacuum, and it has a green laser light, Allie. And so when it's vacuuming with that green laser light, you see like a speck of an oatmeal right there. Okay. Love that. I feel like so good about that. And it has this vacuum attachment. I know I'm going too much on my vacuum. Anyway. Okay. I'm okay with loading the dishes. Okay. But there's one thing that I hate, and I just hate it, is washing and folding laundry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's a bad one.
How about you?
My least favorite is cleaning the bathroom. Gross.
That's good.
I don't love loading the dishwasher, but I did what I consider like the ultimate spring cleaning thing a couple weeks ago. I scrubbed the grout in my kitchen, like with a toothbrush. I did it. It looks so good.
Oh, nice.
It took so long. My knees still hurt, but it was worth it.
Right.
It was worth it.
But now it's like, it's like that's an accomplishment though, because you can look back and you're like, yes, I did it.
Yeah, I still feel like I can get out of chores for the next month because I did that.
You should be able to.
Yeah.
So, when we want to spring clean our devices, because everybody has a phone, let's start with the phone. So what do you think is the first thing that folks need to do?
I'm going to divide this up. So let's say, okay, you heard us talk about, I spent all day doing the grout, right? Takes forever. If you only have a little bit of time, what's a little quick cleanup you can do? I think you should start with your apps. Maybe this means deleting ones you don't use anymore because they're just cluttering things up. If you have an account with that app, make sure you delete it. That is the safe way to do it because otherwise it's just floating out there in the ether. You don't have the app on your phone anymore. You can also get rid of the apps, at least from the home screen of your phone, that you're trying not to use as much. So if you are that person, like I've been recently, saying, you know what, I need to stop scrolling on Instagram so much. Get it off your home screen. Hide the app. That's a little favor you can do for yourself. A little tip there too, if you need help, just saying, you know what, I get 5 minutes a day on this app and that's it. You can do that. You can set a time limit. And we actually have steps for that over on Komando.com.
Now, you know what I did on Instagram?
What'd you do?
Is I unfollowed everybody.
How elitist of you.
So
why?
If you go to Instagram, because I thought, you know what? I would just sit there and see what all these people are doing.
Okay.
And I just decided, like, you know what? I'm just not going to do that anymore. So I follow Ian.
Great.
And I follow an account on Instagram. So just two accounts. Okay. Ian and Baller Busters. Okay.
Great.
Okay. So, somebody's a baller, like they're all, high and polluting.
Fancy
and they're
stuff.
Showing off their life. Okay. These guys are the best. They will bust people like Grant Cardone comes out and says, oh, you should never buy any real estate. And then, so they show that. And then they'll show like Grant Cardone buying like a $40 million mansion in Miami, Or the one that they had this past week was the cover of Forbes magazine. And there were 4 people on the cover. Okay. One of them was a Theranos. The other one was the FTX guy, the WeWork guy. And then also when Forbes gave the Silicon Valley Bank, like the best banking award of the year, So anyway, those are the only 2 that
All right, life goal, do not end up on Forbes. That's what we're hearing.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
All right, if you have more time on your phone, you can go a couple directions here. You could go into your contacts. When is the last time you actually cleaned out your contacts? I know you did that recently, Kim. I have not. I looked through mine, and I have people from college. It's old. It's really old. It's a mess. that is something you can do. It's actually not as hard as you think it is. There are some shortcuts, especially if you have an Android phone and Google, Apple. It's a pain.
It's hard.
We'll just say it right. It's a pain.
It's a royal pain. It's such a time suck. It is.
But like the grout, how rewarding. Because now when you scroll through your phone, you're like, oh man, only people that I actually know and want their phone numbers. It feels good. It feels good.
You know, we could call that the grout test.
Oh, I like that. We're keeping that.
The grout test.
Yeah.
All right.
The other direction you could go, of course, your photos, if you haven't done that in a while. This is another time suck. I say you do a smart move like Kim does. Do this on your downtime. If you're watching a show, maybe you've got wrangled into a show with, your husband or wife and you don't like the show that much, but you're there for moral support. Clean out your photos while they're watching.
Yes.
And then sanitize your phone. I know that you're bringing your phone to the bathroom. Your phone is gross. Take off the case, clean that thing off. You can just do it with a wipe, really like a, sanitizing wipe. You can buy the fancy phone wipes and all that, but a good old Clorox wipe will do the job.
So after our phones, now we get everything all done there. And we're feeling good. We're feeling power.
We're fresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about we talk about the TVs next?
Ooh.
And I would suggest with spring cleaning first, before we go physical, that we say, let's get rid of all the subscription services that we've signed up for and we just don't watch them. I mean, you signed up for the Sundance channel and you paid for it for like 6 months. I mean,
never even watched the movie that I signed up for it for.
Never did. I found on our subscription list this morning, Hallmark movies. Okay. Here's something that you need to know about us. I have never watched a Hallmark movie. I have no intention of. So, who else in the household is watching Hallmark movies?
His name starts with a B. Yeah.
Would that be Abby? Yes. No, it's Barry. I'm like, dude, are you watching like Hallmark movies? It's like,
and the thing about those
research.
Is you don't even think about them. And I think the Sundance channel was like $15 a month or something. Like, that's not a small amount of money. That's a lot. So these things add up. Yes, you should definitely do that. I would mark that down as this takes a little more time task. Depending on how you do it, you can do manually, go through your banking app and look at all your charges. You can sign into all the sites. You can use an app like Rocket Money. Some bank apps actually do it for you. They'll say, hey, here's all your subscriptions. Do you want these? My big advice here is be honest with yourself. Don't do that thing where you say, but I might watch it in a week.
You're not
gonna. No, if you haven't watched it.
It's like those jeans that you have in the back of the closet.
They don't fit and they're not going to fit. You're not going to watch the Sundance channel. You're just not. I'm sorry. So go in, get rid of those. And the thing is, if you want it back, you can sign up again. And I bet you'll get a better deal because they're going to try to get you back. Of course, there is also the dust and the gunk on your TV. Most of us, hopefully every now and again, we dust kind of the screen of our TV. Unless you have little kids around that are, sticky fingers touching it. It should be pretty clean. You can get screen wipes. Those really are the best way to clean a TV. Stay far away with the paper towels. Those are scratchy. Don't use that. Screen wipes work really well. But the dust, that is really where you want to focus. So, of course, the top, the ledge of the TV, run a rag across that and you will be upset with yourself that you don't do that more often. And the back of the TV, that's really where it matters because in all those vents, all those little spots, lots of dust and dirt gets stuck. You can do it a few ways. You can go in with your vacuum. That's a pretty mess-free one. You could use, if you have one of those high-powered air blowers. I have one instead of buying the cans of compressed air. Those work well. It does make a bit of a mess, so prepare yourself to clean the floor as well, but it does get stuff out of there. But vacuum is nice if you need to, or if you're in a rush, just go with a rag. But really, when's the last time you cleaned your TV? Come on.
So I know, obviously we have to do computers too. But I think those are a lot of step-by-steps that I'm sure we have over at the website where people can go through and know how to clean out their desktop and their browser and their cache and their cookies and things like that. But it is springtime, so it's time for everybody to get their butt in action, right?
Absolutely.
And to start cleaning that stuff up because those dust bunnies, I'll tell you, when we moved – I'm telling you, it was disgusting behind the televisions. It really. I'm surprised that they still work. Well, that's why we left them there. Quite frankly, we did. We left them at the house. You can have all the TVs. So, Allie, thanks for joining us as always. And of course, we're going to have all this over at the website, commando.com. And so proud of everything that you're doing on the website, and also all the work that you're doing on the new newsletters. Because, folks, I'm telling you, we have some new newsletters coming. You're just going to dig them. Once again, Allie, thanks for being here. All right, letter from our listener mail. Where's the safest place to store my wife's naked pictures? Ooh, okay. Actually, look this guy up. He's a professional photographer. Over on the website, we have the steps, but it all comes down to encryption. Like with iDrive, you can get a private key encryption. You can also compress and encrypt your images using a service and a program like 7-Zip. We're going to tell you exactly how to do that. You can also lock the notes on your phones. And so if this is a concern, you have some pics on your phone that you don't want anybody to see, just hit the website and use the phrase naked pictures, and I'm sure this tip is going to pop up. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls as well as a way to see which apps are listening on your phone here on the Kim Komando Show. Bruce in Madison, Wisconsin, glad to have you with us.
Hi, Kim. Thanks for taking my call.
Betcha. What's going on?
Recently, I've had to send some documents to my CPA and my financial advisor, and these have been, tax documents and other sensitive documents that had personal information. And they wanted them to be sent as attachments over email, and that kind of bothers me. And I was told by my financial advisor that all you had to do was put the word secure in brackets in the subject line of the email, and that would make it secure between me and them.
No.
Well,
no,
that
doesn't make sense.
Kind of what I felt too, because I've never heard anything like that before. But
if anything, think about this, Charles. I'm going to send an email with the subject secure as it goes through all the internet's highways and byways.
Uh-huh.
And think of an email going through the internet like a postcard going through the U.S. Postal Service. Okay. So let's say that postcard says, here's the secret lottery winning numbers. Okay.
Yeah. I get your point.
And you're going to send an email that says secure. Okay. And I'm going to be like, okay, dude, what is Charles trying to secure? I don't know. Let's try to open it up. Let's see what he's got in there. Okay. All right. So what you want to do is you want to encrypt those emails, right? Before you send it to your tax accountant or your financial advisor. You can use an encryption program. I may have mentioned it, mentioned on the show a few weeks ago called 7-Zip. But just keep in mind that you can also save these documents as PDF files, and using Adobe Acrobat or any other tools is that you can password protect it. Now, if you want to have end-to-end encryption, you can also use a file encryption service like Google Drive. Okay, you could upload it there and they can download it. Dropbox, Microsoft OneDrive. They actually encrypt the files both in transit and when they're just sitting there. And then you could just give a secure link for whoever it is to download the files. And you can also password protect those files if you want. So email is a no. Okay, we don't want to do that, right? Okay. And tell your tax account, I got a kick out of him saying secure. I like that. That's really awesome. Your financial advisor is, because I know I deal a lot with my guys over at Morgan Stanley, is that they send me a secure email and I have to authenticate myself to go onto their servers where I can download or upload whatever they want me to take a look at. But if you can't do that, that's again where you want to start using Adobe Acrobat, your PDF tool, to actually encrypt that file. Or if you want, you can use Dropbox, Google Drive, or Microsoft OneDrive. So does that help you out today?
Yeah, you mentioned the 7-Zip, and I've done some looking at that. Now, if I encrypt it, I can put a password on that, whatever files I zip into that, and then attach that to an email, send it, and then give the recipient the password probably through a phone call or something, so it's not going with the email. And then they can, on their end, they don't need 7-Zip to unzip it?
No, they're going to need 7-Zip to unencrypt the files. So that's why I think you're better off using a PDF file or, as I mentioned, Dropbox, Google Drive, or Microsoft OneDrive. Plus, that's going to be a lot easier. People don't want to install anything else because then what they're going to do, it becomes a whole nightmare. Okay. Bruce, you're going to say, he's going to call you up and go, Bruce, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And you're like, okay, dude, all you have to do is this. And then they're like, okay, you're not paying me to do this, depending on what your relationship is. So that's why it's just easier just to use the least common denominator. PDFs. That's it. That's it. Or Dropbox, Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive. Bruce, thank you so much for your call today. Encryption is so very important when you're sending anything over the internet. I want you to think of it, like I mentioned, like a postcard just going through the U.S. mail. So let me ask you a question. Are your apps listening to every single thing that you say? Well, there's a list that's hidden on your smartphone that will tell you if they really are. Now, here's the scoop. When you install an app, nobody ever reads the app's terms and conditions, all the legal mumbo-jumbo that you said yes to when you click agree, because otherwise you don't get the app, right? But how do you find out which apps are doing this? For iPhone users, simply open Settings, go to Privacy and Security, and tap Microphone. Now, this will pull up a magical list of all the apps that are using your mic. And from there, you can disable the apps that you don't want picking up any conversations. Now, if you're on an Android, it's kind of the same story. You go into the Settings menu, but here you're going to find the Apps Permission Manager, and you're going to disable the microphone for any apps that should not be using it. And finally, before you download an app, just be sure that you read the reviews in the Apple app or Google Play Store. Hey, tell 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show because knowledge is power. You can find me at Komando.com.